Hey, what's going on? And welcome to episode 11 of Behind the Lanes, presented by Hollmark Bowling Shoes, the first high top bowling shoe in the game. Doctor's #1 recommended brand. So if the doc says it, you know it's true. I'm your host, JR, alongside my co host, Mr. Steve Hernandez. How's it going, Steve?
It is going great, man. It's a great Tuesday. The sun's out. I can't complain, man.
That's right. That's right. And be sure to check out hallmarkshoes.com for a variety of colors and styles to choose from, and tell them Behind the Lane sent you. Well, tonight we have a big show. We have the CEO of the X League, the world's largest bowling league, joining us tonight alongside Hollmark staffer Monica. So before we get to all that and bring them in, you know what we got to do, right, Steve?
Yes, sir. Get that intro.
Got to hit them with the intro. Let's get it.
This is Sean Rash, and you are watching Behind the Lanes. Oh, and there everybody's in. I didn't mean to make that happen, but it's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody to Behind the Lanes. Get y'all questions ready for George coming up here soon. George, I want to thank you for taking your time to join us tonight. And how's it going?
Thanks, Jared. We're doing good over here. Beautiful weather here at the Jersey Shore. And thanks for the invite.
Oh, no problem. Glad to have you. And Monica, welcome back.
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. It's always great having you around. All right,
Thank
George,
you.
before we get to the X League, let the people know where you're from and how long have you been bowling? What got you into bowling?
So I'm from Manahawkin, New Jersey, which is about equidistance in between Atlantic City and Seaside Heights. And I've been in the bowling now for 33 years. I'm a past president of my association and currently in my County Hall of Fame.
Nice recommend. So what are some of your highest games and sets you bowled in your career?
My high set it's only 837. Some of my friends have much higher. Obviously, I have a ton of 300 games that qualifies me for getting to into my local Hall of Fame, obviously. And now we're going from bowler to running events to getting to the world's largest bowling league.
Sweet. And before we get to that, let us know what's in your arsenal right now. What kind of equipment are you rolling with?
You know what? I'm not a staffer, so I do have some storm balls. I do have some motive balls.
Okay.
So I usually kind of go back and forth. Every once in a while, Storm comes up with a good line. Every once in a while, Motive will come out with a good line. Depending on whatever the lane conditions are, that's what I'm rolling with.
Nice. All right. So you're the CEO and founder of the X League, the world's largest bowling league. How did you come up with the idea to even start the league? Were you just sitting around with a bunch of buddies or what?
Well, we were bowling in, it was a weird story. So what happened was we were already bowling in a traveling league at the time. and I was waiting over a year for my money. And I was asking, do I have to fill out a form? Do I got to do something? Like, what's going on? And one of the guys that was on staff of this travel league said, if you don't like it, start your own travel league up. And then I was immediately pissed, JR. I don't get mad, and I'm just slamming my fists on the table. And I'm like, I can't believe he said that. I'm only waiting for like $100. It wasn't even a lot of money.
Right.
So I went up to my friend and I said, do you believe what this guy told me? He said, I should start my own league if I don't like it. And my friend Tony said, dude, start your own up. You know 1 million people. And I'm like, I thought about it. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do it. So we're at league and we're talking. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just ask one person. And if this one person says no, I'm going to shut it down. So I went up to my friend Russ. And I said, Russ, listen, if I start a travel league in this area, and I'm telling you, I can get it big, would you like to join? And without hesitation, he said, absolutely. And I did not expect that from him at all. I thought he was going to say something. Oh, I got to think about it. I thought he was going to say something like that. So right. I'm like, interested. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go to my ball driller, Paul. So I went up to Paul. I said, Paul, if I start another travel league, I said, and we'll do this and this and this. I said, would you get in? And he said, absolutely. And I'm like, all right, there's a need here that nobody really noticed. So I'm like, all right. So next thing I know, I'm in my garage. I bought a desk from Staples. I put it together myself. And I'm not a handy guy, but I figured out all the screws and nails and everything else. Right. And I'm sitting down in my garage until 4 a.m, typing up rules, making a website. I've never done any of this stuff before. So we started going through everything, and I said, you know what? Let's launch it. Let's see what happens. I spent a couple grand on it already. Let me see if we get some interest. And I got a couple of my buddies on board to help us out. And we were all talking about, oh, man, if we had like 8 teams, that would be a great start. Oh, could you imagine if we had 12? Oh, my God, that'd be so amazing. And the first year we ended up with 29. And I was like, oh my God, there's a need out here for, to have a fun, competitive travel league where the trash talk is just out the window. Nobody likes hearing that stuff, Right. There's a certain niche of bowlers that do like, that they like to smoke. They like the super competitive gambling aspect of bowling. That's all fine. I could deal with the smoke too as a scratch bowler, but the vast majority of bowlers are 180, 190. They got kids. They're a little bit older. So a lot of times they just don't want to hear that stuff. So we put a lot of rules in place to have, a fun family atmosphere, but at the same time, make it competitive and attractive enough to model the business, model of Little League Baseball, where you play, your local teams during the regular season. And if you're fortunate enough to get to the playoffs, you do a little bit of traveling. And then at that point, you could be on a state champion, a super regional champion, and then finally a national champion. And when we put the vision together at the same time of saying, hey, you know what, maybe we can get like a Fox Sports, platform or an ESPN type platform, right, to back us on this, I think it'd be really good. So now we're in year basically 1.5. We're currently in the middle of our second year, and we now have 37 teams, and it looks like we're going to have another 20-something teams coming on next year. And that's because someone like Monica, out of the blue, because all of our advertising, I guess, is either word of mouth or through social media. Monica just happened to see it one day. She just, we had a mutual friend that reached out to her and said, look, this is what we're trying to do. Are you interested? She goes, I am interested. And I'm like, okay, let's get her on a Zoom call. Let's go up there. Let's talk to her. We drove up to Connecticut and we tried wooing Monica as best we could. We took her out to her. We took her out and she paid for drinks, the whole 9. So, and she was very happy that we came up there. I gave her, staff shirts, staff hoodies, flyers, pot sheets, all these things. And look at that's a great shirt. So, Yeah, and we're all pretty positive, outgoing people. So
Just showing the
yeah, so we just made sure that we just gave her everything that she needed that can help her out. And anytime that any of our staff needs anything, they just simply reach out to us. We'll overnight it to them, no problem. And one of the things that Monica liked about us is that not only do we have a large following now, but we're very transparent as it relates to everything. And bowlers are simple creatures. They like transparency. They like starting on time. They like knowing where their money goes. If you don't tell people where their money's going, then a lot of times people in their brain will start thinking, oh, there's something corrupt going on here. If someone's asking you where $5 is going, just let them know where the $5 is going. And bowlers appreciate that, especially when you start on time. You're not sitting around for 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So we had an overwhelming, I guess, just a lot of people coming up to us say, hey, we want to start a team. Hey, we want to start a division. And now we're in the process. We met this woman, Debbie, out in Maryland, and she goes, you know what? I want to get involved. So it looks like we might have a Maryland division as well for next year. So we're doing pretty good, JR.
That is awesome, man. Did you expect it to blow up that big from a year from now? Or did you
Well, I know when I put my mind to something, I'm like, I'm all in all the time. So,
Right.
And I wasn't sure how, I understood how the local bowlers would take it because, I do a lot of things for the local bowling community, and I thought a lot of them would eat it up. But I was a little concerned about like North Jersey, Long Island, out of state areas like that, where they just don't know me as well. But they started taking a pop. They started liking the X League. Of course, it's not for everyone. So, every once in a while, a team drop out here or a bowler drop out here. But I mean, if we're growing at 50% every single year, I don't know when it's going to stop.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what separates y'all from the UBA?
Well, we do have a set of rules in place where we want to try to have the trash talking down to a minimum.
Okay.
I own a franchise in the UBA along with my friend Russ. We participate as many times as we can. We don't put nicknames on the back of our shirts because some of them are, they're not good names. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're just very simple. We just have our last name on there on the back of the jersey. So Monica's last name, Schwartz, back on the back of the jersey. And reason being is that, we're hoping in year 4 or year 5 where we can have like, an ESPN or a Fox Sports kind of platform pick us up. We want to kind of have, people's last names back there because a lot of people look at us as a friendly professional league.
Right. Nah, yeah. Steve, you got anything for George?
No, I'm just I'm listening to him. It's still a learning process. I like when he explains it and lays it out. Because it coming from him, it makes sense. And like I said, Monica has kind of brought X League to me, in the past, and that's how we started communications with George and Chris. And I guess maybe my thing is I know George has been talking like, can you and you got a lot of people saying, hey, girl, tell us your thoughts here, Monica. I mean, about the X League, and now you're getting your feet into it, and as a champion, at the X League. I mean, you've been with Hollmark for a long time. I mean, you're a great individual to have on any team.
Thank you.
So, can you give us your thoughts on the X League and what really got you excited about it?
Yeah. So, I definitely can. Basically, I was a member of the same travel league as George in a different area, and it just was getting to be unfun. I'm making up a word right now. Not fun at all. I'm a competitor. I own a team, franchise it's called, for 8 years. This is our 9th season. And I also was a participant before I got a franchise, and I just was noticing over time a lot of things had changed. The mere, ability to have a conversation with somebody who's an official level. That's important to me. Like Steve, you and I talk very casually. If I need something or we want to talk about something, it could be business, could be, but I know if I reach out to you, you're going to come back. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to answer me. If I have, somebody that has a need, you're going to respond. And when George and I started talking, it was like we had a Zoom call, and then we had another Zoom call, and then I was like, hey, I got people interested. Could we have another Zoom? It's just the ability to have just a conversation about the X League, and to kind of answer any questions I might have, because I was getting excited about the fact that there was an option. I think a lot of times we tend to go towards something we want to do, and we stick with it because we don't think there's other options, or maybe there isn't an option presented. I think it happens a lot also, even with the shoes sometimes, is like people, like, they know one thing and they don't try to like find out more about another product. It's like, oh, I had this first and that's what I'm sticking with, And as soon as I found in my conversations with other members of the travel leagues that we are on, that the interest is so vast because there's an option. And it's like, hey, let me tell you about this because it might be better suited for you. The competitiveness will be good and will be real. And it won't be about having teams that are just represented in a I can't think of the right word, but it's not really real. Like when you're looking at the teams and their averages, it's just inflated. That's the word I want to look for. It's like, this is real bowling. It's real matches. It's match play against another person. It's making the the handicap part of it more fair but also very competitive. George said, he came right up, brought his team. We had a meeting with the prospective presidents that were interested. I have 9 teams, definitely, possibly 10. And it was not hard to sell it to anyone who was willing to listen, because everybody is so hungry for this travel league with competition, but fair, the fair strategy as to how the competition is going to be, and willing and able officers to be able to communicate and have conversations, answer questions.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Monica really liked, is when she calls me, I make sure I get back to her first before everyone else. So when she texts me, like, I want to make sure I get back to her in 60 seconds, and she's going to be coming on staff, and that's the way that we treat our employees. We want to make sure that, if a staffer has a question, we want to make sure that we answer it as soon as possible. If she needs products or anything like that, we try to ship it to her as soon as possible. Like, she asked for flyers. We had 2 different people ship out flyers to her.
I got so many flyers.
She has so many flyers now. So she's probably going to have to throw half of them out.
Nah.
But she has, 500 flyers, and she only has like 6 bowling alleys in her area. But Monica hit it on point. Like, when it comes to like the differences between us and the UBA, like, we use an 80% handicap. They use a 70% handicap. One of the things that we try to avoid is that there's a thing out there where there's super teams, where all the teams just have nothing but scratch bowlers. But the way we took care of that is by, number one, putting in a match point system. So you're always bowling against someone. Everything's always close somewhere. And then secondly, on our third trio, you can't have an average over 215. So those scratch bowlers are going to have to be, get along with your 170, 180 bowlers. And I can tell you right now, JR, there's way more 170 bowlers than there are 20 bowlers, and it's probably about 30-1. And when you have something that's 70% handicap, you're excluding all those people, and it makes no sense.
Right.
And, as a past president of my association, I've always been very critical as it relates to USBC, because for the, USBC used to be A+, and before that ABC was A+. But as they started evolving, USBC's just been getting a little bit older, and they're having a problem right now recruiting youth. So if I go to a national convention, JR, and I go out there, there's 80 people in wheelchairs. Half of them have flip phones. You know,
Right.
There's nobody there with a smartphone, trying to figure stuff out and like thinking outside the box. So a lot of people ask me, what's up with USB-C? And I'm like, I don't know. They got to get their things together. And we didn't like the fact that they took their awards away. Now for the scratch bowlers that are 230 and higher, they didn't really care at first because they get so many rings as it is.
Right.
But if you're that 215 guy that just happens to get a 300 maybe once every 4 or 5 years, you kind of miss the rings. So what we did is we took all the good stuff from USB-C, threw all the bad stuff out, and we self-sanction. So we keep track of all your averages. We keep track of all the rules. We keep track of all the standings. And you know what, JR? If you get an honor score, a 300, an 800, anything like that, we give you an award. It's not this once a year stuff where maybe you get, 300, 290 or whatever.
Right.
We make sure that you get, every 300 that you're bowled throughout the year. We make sure that we give out awards. And the way we do that is we're military themed. So we found a supplier out in South Carolina that does custom made dog tags. But the dog tags aren't made of aluminum. They're made out of straight gunmetal. So they're laser engraved. They're real nice. They look very sharp. They're a little expensive, but you know what? For a $30 sanction, all you have to do is get, 1-300 game and you beat the system.
Right.
On top of that, what we do, a lot of us are into we're gamers too. You play. If mind me asking.
I'm on 2K right now. Golf a lot. I'm a sports guy gamer. I play a little bit of Call of Duty. Mostly sports though.
Well, let me use Call of Duty as an example.
Okay.
A lot of people like playing Call of Duty because they like ranking up.
Right.
Right. Okay, good. A lot of people are closet gamers. So when you bring it up, there's more gamers than you think. And they're 50, 60 years old too. It's the weirdest thing. So what we did is we implemented like a Call of Duty feature inside the X League where you start out as a second lieutenant. And once you hit 10,000 pins, you become a first lieutenant. And if you hit 20,000 pins, you become a captain. And you get awards as you go up. So you could become a 5-star general of the X League.
That's pretty
cool.
You know
what that does? That artificially creates participation because people want to see their ranks higher.
Man, I need to hurt my joy and get my rank up.
You gotta get your rank up.
I'm ready to go.
And you're doing it for $40. You're doing it for $40 and not $50.
Yeah.
So when you obtain your rank, do you get to keep your rank or?
No, you get to keep your rank. So you know what we did? We don't have to ask anyone to be in the X League Hall of Fame because once you're a 5-star general, you're already at the top of the heap. Everyone's going to know who you are anyway. So we don't have to worry about, this guy's a good bowler, but he's a pain in the ass in our league, and we got to kind of vote for him. And that kind of stuff happens in your local association. So don't think it doesn't. If you're a lifetime 230 bowler and you have 150 300s, but you're always giving trash to the tournament directors in your local county, they're never going to vote you in.
Right.
But this is straight accomplishment.
Nice.
Yeah, and everything's on the website. We keep track of everything. We update everything. We tell everyone on Thursdays, but it's typically updated on Tuesdays. But we have a very good system. Chris Downs is our COO. He's an amazing guy. Does everything by the books. Does everything transparency. Catherine Peng runs our website. And we have much other staff running our divisions, the tour stop representatives. They're all on board. No one goes rogue, and we have a good time. And as the CEO, my job is to create a fun atmosphere to make it not seem like work. Because if you feel like you're having fun at work, but you also tell these people, hey, we got to make sure that we're still doing our jobs. They're all for it. I take them out for Christmas dinners all the time, every Christmas. I'm spending $2,000-$3,000 at a Christmas dinner. Well, you know what?
I'm invited. I'm invited.
I get invited to the next one. Usually we hold it in Atlantic City, something nice. I dig deep into my pocket. I take care of the staff. If you take care of your staff and you take care of your employees and you start talking respectful to the people that are giving you money every week, aka your bowlers, your customers, you're never going to lose anybody.
Totally agree.
And I wanted to just add one thing real quick. I was going to add one thing real quick in conjunction with why, I thought this was a good option for me and my current team is the thing that really drove home to me was actually the X League website, because there's everything that you could, think you need. Information about finances, matches, where your money's going as far as and even the discussion about the rankings. And, whereas what happened is after looking through the X League and seeing how everything was nicely laid out and very clear and, anyone could see it, right? I went back and I was like, let me go check the website that we use to and I can never find anything, but that's besides the point. But more importantly, what I noticed was it was March and our prize fund for the travel league was not there. And we voted on it in October. And we had sheets at the stop and we had to vote. And it was 1, 2, 3. And there was no prize fund listed. Now the season's almost over. And I'm saying, well, what won? And what can I expect as a team in this position? Where are we? What is the prize fund? And why is it not listed? Yeah. So when you're a bowler and you have a team of people, I got 35 bowlers that want to know questions, have questions and want answers, and I can't go somewhere and get them, then I don't look like a good leader. And certainly the people above me don't look like good leaders. So the thing about George is he's a great leader, and everything has been really thought out and upgraded from all of the other things that, we're used to.
And I think, JR, just say, guys, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, And a lot of times we'll have a bowler call us out like, hey, man, I didn't get my dog tag. Hey, man, I didn't get this. I think my average is wrong. So you know what? We're going to do an investigation and find out, okay, well, what happened here? Why are things falling through the cracks? So just yesterday, we had a person that's been waiting on a dog tag now for 2.5, 3 months. And I'm like, all right, let me research it. And then we found out that it wasn't his fault and it wasn't our fault. It was a loophole in the process that in ordering the dog tags, we were ordering them, but we weren't following up to see if they were produced. So I'm like, all right, so we'll put it in our procedures and manual, make sure that we make sure that the dog tags are made, and now we're going to give them out next time they show up. So we're able to flip these awards around in less than a month. So a lot of people like seeing that we're lightning fast with this stuff.
Nice. Now, do you have say your Maryland division? Do you have somebody in charge of that division and it reports to you as a
right? So
like a governor for that area?
So what we do is we call them. So there's different rankings. There's the CEO, and then there's the admin staff, and the admin staff just does all the behind stuff. Okay. And I'm not saying that that the tour stop reps are better than the admin staff. I look at everyone as all the same. I look at myself as the same level as the person running the stop. Okay. I'm just the one putting everything together. That's just my job. So we have super regional directors. So Monica is going to be our super regional director. And she's going to be in charge of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So that's 6 states. I don't like having people I don't like when people have to deal with more than 12 people. That's just my thing. And in those individual states, we're going to have these people called tour stop reps. So when you go for your, to bowl your 3 games of bowling, there's always going to be someone there to make sure that the stop is running smooth. Starts on time. The averages are all right. The scoring's all right. We call those individuals tour stop reps. So we have the tour stop reps reporting to the super regional directors. And then we're going to have Paul Fody. He's going to be our Metro super regional director. And those states are going to include New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and West Virginia. So that's just, and he's going to be in charge of those. We're going to have people on the ground helping us out as well, because you can't run this league out of an office. You have to be always traveling around. You have to see people. So that's why it was real important to me to take the 3-hour drive all the way to Connecticut just to see Monica, And I could tell you when I left that she was very grateful that, hey, this guy drove 3 hours to come see us. He's genuine and stuff. You can't just be genuine. You have to show genuineness. Okay.
Right.
And then in Maryland, we're going to have a person called Debbie Snowden. She's going to be helping us out in the Maryland division. And you know what? We're going to take care of Debbie just like we're taking care of Monica and just like we take care of everyone else. We're going to treat him like an A1 plus employee, and we have to have everyone working together to build this thing. Because if we start getting out to Ohio and Illinois, and we have franchises out in those states, we just don't have enough to start a division yet.
Right.
But
Okay.
we have to have people on the ground to work together to help us out. And when we do it collectively from people who actually love the sport of bowling, that's when things are going to work out. I mean, you have to pass a background check.
Right.
Nobody wants to deal with a person that has 6 felonies and a mental.
Yeah.
Right? You want to have someone that's like, kind of smart. People like them. And you know what? A lot of people like Monica. So when we reached out to Monica, I'm like, this is my girl. This is the girl that I want.
Thank you.
Right? Well, it's true. I tell her all the time, Monica, I love you. You're the
I
best.
appreciate.
I tell her she's the boss all the time. She goes,
I'm the boss of nothing.
Literally, you're the boss. So, you got to treat everyone like they're special. And to me, Monica's special. Chris is special. Cat 10 is special. All these people are special to me, and then we have our tour stop preps. I got Dave, I got Ray, I got Jonathan. I treat all these guys like they're special. Mark is special. And now we have new people coming on board. Ariana's coming on board. We have Garcia's coming on board. Christina, we have all these people coming on board. All they want, I get phone calls once a week. George, you want to help out, but I don't know where you have positions open. And I'm like, all right, no problem. I said, you have to give me a little while because, honestly, a lot of people want to join. I don't know where to pick you yet. So people want to see this thing grow. And you have to, when you're growing the world's largest bowling league and you're trying to make bowling great again, you have to do it for everybody. You have to do it for the bowling alleys. You have to do it for the people making chamois. You have to do it for the people that make jerseys. You have to bring everyone up. The pro shop owners. You have to highlight all those people because JR. Here's the thing: how long have you been bowling?
Probably about 7 years.
7 years.
Not too
Okay.
long. Yeah, I started late.
So not too long. I know Steve's been bowling a little bit longer. Same with Monica. But when was the last time you heard a bowling alley open up?
I have not actually.
No.
Yeah.
Right now, graveyards open up more than bowling centers.
Yeah, I see more closing. Yeah, I see more shutting down and opening up.
They're insane. Right. Now, why are the bowling alleys going out of business? Well, I mean, you have companies like Bolero. They're charging $6, $7, $8 a game or, $30 for an hour.
Yeah.
So if you're a new bowler, JR, right, and you want to work on your game, you're going to be more apt to go to a mom and pop place that charges you $3 or $4 a game. So you can throw 4 or 5 things, work on your release, You can't do that at Bolero. You can't because it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, and you're not going to go there as often.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree.
I think I have it all down pat. My mind's kind of set, but I'm mentally flexible. So if someone says, "Oh, you know what? I kind of think this," and I'm like, "You know what? I could see that." But we have to stick to our values, and the values right now is giving back to the bowlers, helping the pro shop owners because you have a lot of online stores that they're popping up all over the place.
Yes.
But, the Jersey people, we like going through Bowlify. I like their shirts, but we have our in-house graphic design artist, Ink Parlor, Tim Huggle over there. He makes phenomenal digital art graphics, phenomenal. To where Bowlify just wants to hire him. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to lose this guy. I take care of him too. So we're really excited about this stuff. And, hopefully we can knock out this Maryland division. But Monica said, we think we have, 10 franchises in Connecticut. We got more teams coming in Philadelphia. We got more teams coming out of New Jersey. And we think we can get this thing to, a couple thousand franchises in the next 10 years. And this is why we do these podcasts, to let everyone know the awareness, and I talked to Steve and I'm like, Steve, let's talk about your shoes. I really haven't heard much about them.
Right.
It seems like, oh, my shoes are great. Look at the colors. Look at this. It's a high top. And I'm like, you know what? That's kind of dope. And I'm like, you know what? I want to buy one. I just haven't figured out which one I want yet, and I want to be able to show them off in my normal.
It is hard. It is hard to choose.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them.
I have
If he
many
had 3
pairs
or
that I
4,
bring with
I would
me.
have ordered one already, Steve. But Steve offers a vast amount of diversity when it comes to like the regular shoe, like his regular bowling shoes. And like at first I didn't want to get them, and I'm like, and then he goes, "Well, they're interchangeable soles." And I'm like, all right, I'm at the point now where I can't have an excuse. I just got to buy one now. but I'm torn between the silver and gold one, or the silver and black one, and the red, white, and blue one. I just haven't decided which one I want.
So here's my thing. I like the concept. You know, like we talked about. You know, you're taking all the things that you've learned and improved on them. You know, and your analogy we talked about prior was, you know, there's a burger stand over here, and everybody's been going there. They're getting paid, you know, they're paying extra money for it. They're not getting, it's just a regular burger, but they're used to it because it's the only burger in town. But then you come across the street and you have something that's new and inviting and more open. And this is what you're doing. And that's what bowling needs, is to evolve. You know, like
well, that's exactly right. So Steve, I like telling stories and using analogies,
right?
Because psychologically, people can remember stories and analogies. So, you know, I look at the UBA as a burger joint in town. Now, the UBA, the burger joint, it's the only burger joint in town. So if Monica likes hamburgers, she's going to continue to go to the burger joint every single time. Now, if the hamburger's 30 minutes late and the hamburger costs $40 and, you know, it charges extra for pickles, if she likes burgers, she's still going to go to the burger joint. But now, if I open up a burger joint across the street and I'm doing it for cheaper, and I'm doing it for quicker, and I'm doing it more organized, and my menu looks better, and my website looks better.
And it tastes better.
Right, it tastes better. Right. So when you introduce competition into the marketplace, it corrects bad behavior. So what does that mean? So if I'm making very good burgers and they're making burgers, they have to improve on their burgers. If they don't improve on their burgers, they're going to be in a world of trouble.
Yeah.
Right. So at the same time, you know, now they're doing more advertising. They're doing more things that, you know, they're trying to be more transparent. So we're helping them be more transparent. They don't even realize it. You know, so it's like, now I don't have anything, you know, terrible. UBA doesn't like me too much. You know, they're mad at me. You know, they're mad at me because I started my own burger joint. And I'm like, okay, like I get it. You know, if I'm the heavyweight title holder, like, just put a picture up of me. You know, everybody knows. Like, you know, but you know, I like having a little joke around with it because, you know, and I'm not looking to compete with them, honestly. Right. I look at them as a Tuesday night league, and I look at the X League as a Thursday night league. You know, and they're going to keep me honest, because if they're doing something better, I got to fix what I'm doing. So competition in the marketplace corrects bad behavior. So there's nothing wrong with that. And if somebody wants to choose UBA over X League, fine. And if somebody wants to choose X League over UBA, fine. I'm not going to twist anybody's minds. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to make sure that we do it the right way. And we're going to make sure that everyone's having fun and gets their money the last week of bowling, like everyone should.
Nice. Question for you. I just heard of the X League. So how does somebody like me get into the X League? Do I have to know a team to get onto a team? Is that how it works? Or
so actually we have a couple of ways.
Okay.
The first way is to get a hold of me directly. So when I'm announcing these new teams, there's a couple of things that I'm doing. Number one, I always ask my bowlers in the league, if you have a good idea, personally reach out to me. I had a bowler reach out to me, and I said, "What is it, Greg?" He goes, "When you announce these teams, I think you should announce the franchise owner so these guys know where to go." And I'm like, that makes so much sense. Why wouldn't you? So I take feedback, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. If it's good, I'm going to implement it right away. If it's bad, I'm going to tell them why it's bad, because, you know, you might lose bowlers, whatever the reason is, they have to understand why it's a bad idea. If it's indifferent, I just tell them, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Let me think about it. So when I put these new teams coming up, I put the franchise owner and they get a hold of it. Next thing I know, I tell them immediately, get your jerseys done. Well, why are you going to get my jerseys done? Because when you wear an X League jersey to league and no one's ever seen one, they start asking, what's that jersey?
Right.
And then it goes into a whole other conversation. Next thing I know, I got another team.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, you know, Debbie's great. I talked to her on the phone a couple times. I said, Debbie, got to get your jerseys done. Okay, I'll get my jerseys done. And we sent everything over to Tim and Ink Parlor, and she saw her jersey. She goes, "Oh my God, they're beautiful." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you pay us for, to do cool stuff." She wants to order them right away, and she wants to get them on her body and started bowling in her Thursday and Friday night league, and people are going to see, oh, what's that jersey? So on the back of our jerseys, we always put the state on there. So on the back of the Maryland jerseys, we have the state of Maryland. So when we start getting these huge tournaments together, like a national championship match, or UBA has like a battle bowl type of event, and like I said, Steve, how we're military themed, we want to call our big event Civil War, because it's going to be pretty cool going down the lanes and you're looking and you say, oh, there's Florida. Oh, there's Ohio. Oh, what state is that? Oh, I don't know. It's either Colorado or Wyoming. I can't tell because they're the same. And we have all these states on board. It's going to be really cool. And people like being a part of something that's very cool and very popular.
We got a question from Bryce real quick. He wants to know, will there be a belt system like the UBA?
Not just yet. We haven't decided that, but we have decided that we do want to get some kind of big event 1 or 2 times a year where some of these bowlers can, take a weekend, with their kids, because there's not a lot of smoke there, and just have a good time. Give the kid a roll of quarters, have them go into the arcade, okay? Because every bolero or bowling alley has an arcade, okay? Yeah. When I was younger, I was a big Mortal Kombat guy. I always put the on the screen, right? I was Scorpion. That was my guy.
Sub-Zero.
I was going to say, I was on a team Ice Nation, and I was Sub-Zero. That was my name.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah, we're a lot of bowlers are gamers, but they never talk about it. It's the weirdest thing. So we put a lot of those things in place for the league, and that's why one of the reasons why it's popular. We haven't thought of like any kind of a belt event, anything like that. I know that UBA is having some problems getting some people, and they're working really, really hard to try to get, more people involved. I think like the women's division part, I think there's maybe like 5 or 6 people. It's not very big, but I know when we have like a Civil War type event, if we can get 1,000 or 2,000 bowlers to go to a separate bowling alley, I mean, we typically do $2 brackets. So there's people there that'll go in for, $200 worth of brackets. They get $100 worth of brackets. The reason we do $2 brackets is because for some reason they look at it, because of the inflation that's been going on the last couple of years. They look at it as a deal, right? So if I have a woman that has $20 in her purse, we want to be able to get that $20 to have people enjoy the league, right? There's no way in hell, Steve, she's going to get in $4 or $5 brackets. But if she's a 140 average bowler, you know what? She feels kind of good. She wants to kind of get in brackets. But if I say, you know what? You can get in 10 $2 brackets. It's the same amount of money. You win the same amount of money. But for some reason, it feels like a deal. So psychologically, they're going to get into more brackets.
Yeah.
I like your business.
JR, aren't you near Maryland? You're in DC, aren't you? How far are you from Maryland? You can
I'm in Maryland. I got. Maybe I'll look into it and see what
there you go, Maryland people. I see the chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of Maryland.
Get on the phone with JR Brower, and you need to get a hold of JR because he's another team coming out of Maryland.
Yeah. And say if somebody wanted to start their own franchise, how does that work?
Yeah, circle back to that.
All right. So the basic on the franchise is this. So we charge a $500 fee. See, Debbie's online right now. So if you want to talk to Debbie she's on there. So she's amazing. I love talking to her all the time. But to start up a franchise, it's only $500.
Okay.
And every year we have a renewal fee. Okay. And just straight transparency.
Right.
The renewal fee goes to our staff. Because these are the people that are keeping track of your averages. These are the people keeping track of your standings. These are the people in charge of doing the graphics to show a nice, cool standing sheet, right? So we can't run it for free. So,
right.
We have website costs and we have servers and we have all these other things that we have to, to fund. So I'd love to do it for free, but you can't do it for free.
Nothing's free.
Nothing's free. And then the sanction fee is $30. The sanction fee goes right to the awards. Any money left over, we throw it back into infrastructure because you know what, JR? we're looking to get 1,000 or 2,000 teams into this league, and we have to put this money out there in the form of advertising, promotions, all these other things, and people are like it. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's pretty close to like 98, 99%. There's always going to be one person who's going to be complaining about something.
Yeah, there's always that one.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is? You hear them out. It's not for them. Okay,
yeah.
It's not for them. You know what? Like, yoga is not for me. I'm not going to bash the yoga teacher. It's just not for me.
It's definitely not for me neither. But hey, do you? Whatever makes you happy. You know what I mean?
Just, you know what? You want to do UBA? You don't want to do UBA? You want to do a regular Saturday morning league? Go right ahead. But we're gonna make something cool, and we're gonna make sure that this is the Cadillac League going on, and then you join the X League, and then you know what? Maybe I'll join my Tuesday league.
And
maybe my Friday night league.
And what I like about the X League for us working people at work and get up early, it's on the weekends. I love that.
Yeah, imagine that. Like, you don't have to bowl at 8:00 at night when you have to go into work in the office at 6 a.m.
That's a plus.
And if you're one of those guys that works for your hands, sometimes you got to get up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go bowling at 7. And you know the other
agree.
thing is? We have a roster of 36 bowlers, JR. It's capped.
Oh, okay.
The reason it's capped is because it artificially creates more franchises. Because if you have a team, let's say, like a federation team, a UBA team, and they got 62 bowlers on their team, well, you could have had 2 teams. Just cap it. And when you cap it, you're getting rid of all the super teams. Nobody wants to bowl against the Super Friends or the Avengers,
Hey, wait a minute. Time out.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
My team name is Avengers.
Yeah. You want to have people that are 180, 190s, and you have to have those 180 and 190s get along with your 220 and 230 bowlers. Because somewhere along the way, these elite scratch bowlers, the ones that are over 230, look down at everyone under 210. And it's the weirdest thing, and I can't figure out why. Well, you bowl on a house shot, and I bowl on a sports shot. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So, but those are the things that we figured out, and we're running with it, and everyone seems to like it, and everyone seems to like the way I describe it. So Monica's on board right now. I didn't think Monica would be here 6 months ago.
So it caps off at 36 players per team. Now, how many players actually play per week?
So we do 9. 3 sets of 2. We have a scratch pair. We have a handicap pair. It's 80% at 240. Okay. It makes no sense to do 70%. Because every time you if we made it 100%, we would have 1,000 teams already. But then the scratch bowlers would get mad. So you got to kind of meet someone in between.
Yeah.
And then the third pair is also 80% at 240. However, you can't have anyone over a 215 average. That's the bulk of the bowlers right there. We have people in our league 130, 140, and they just like going out, getting 2 drinks, getting away from their family, away from their problems, away from their kids for 3-4 hours. They get to hang out with their friends. They get to come home. That's what bowling's supposed to be.
Right.
Hmm?
So
Dave, you have something? Yeah.
I was going to say, I know we talked about getting a hold of George. So for our viewers that are going to be watching this, because they'll be watching them all over the country. It's not just the East Coast. So we're going to have people give us the links, or do they just go on Google X League? I mean, I know that, like you said, they can get a hold of me, George Williams, but tell me what some of the things that people are out there going to say. Well, how do I contact these people? How do I learn more, on their own? How do I Google this? What would your advice to people that are watching us all over the country?
Okay. So we just started our big social media pilot program. So we just started getting on TikTok, Instagram, all those other things. But if you're looking to join, the first place to check is to check out the Facebook page that we have. And it's facebook.com/myxleague. You can go on there to just kind of check it out. We have a link there to our website, www.myxleague.com. It's on the center graphic in the middle of the screen, if you guys could see. Yep. One of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to make a very, very clean website. Bowlers are weird. They like very simple, very to the point. They don't want to sugarcoat anything. If it's bad news, tell me what it is. So we go on the website. It's very easy to navigate, and you could just read about all the things going on the website. you know, and then we just started doing our YouTube channel where we started making these cool mixtape videos. And that's where we've been getting a lot of those people saying,
Nice.
oh, this is pretty cool. Check this out. And it gets shared. Next thing I know, I'm going on Facebook and the thing got shared 80 or 90 shares. And I'm like, okay, so we have someone sharing. I'm sharing the bulk of the stuff, but there's other people sharing things as well.
Right.
You know, and when you start seeing shares going into 3 digits, like people are excited about that. And we're getting, you know, we had Portland, Oregon check in. We had Canada check in. We had Michigan check in. We have teams in Illinois. We have teams in Georgia, Alabama. You know, people in Florida were checking in, but we can't get them yet until we geographically get to them because we don't want to have any kind of a logistics mess. You know?
Right.
We've had a lot of people out in Texas like asking us, hey, man, how do we get this out there? And I'm like, you know, give me a couple of years till we get out there. You know, and you know what? People like also joining things they can't be a part of.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of weird. Like I want to get them on board, but I'm like, you know what? Let's geographically get out there. You know, let me get Memphis before I can get Dallas.
Right.
You know, let me get Chicago before I can get San Francisco. We have to work our way out there.
Yeah.
So we're doing it strategically. We haven't really turned any teams down. We're telling people to get the uniforms, their jerseys and everything else done. We're not hearing bad things either. You know, it's overwhelmingly good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And all the jerseys, do they go through your guy?
Everybody goes through our guy.
Okay.
And the reason being is we want to make sure that they get exactly what they're ordering.
Right.
So if someone wants a unicorn with a rainbow and a pot of gold on their jersey, we ship everything over to Tim Huggle. Tim Huggle's like, okay, well, I mean, I wouldn't do that. I'll do it. And he'll put a unicorn with a bowling ball on a tin and a rainbow and a pot of gold with some pins. And next thing I know, they're like, oh my God, this is the dopest jersey.
Right.
I'm like, good, because it's going to be on Bolify in 10 days for you to order. Order them right away, wear them in your league, and let me know what people say.
I have such cool ones that people on other teams, they just want them because we're the Avengers. So I have like the Hulk and I have Spider-Man and I have Thor, and they're all like, they look like you're wearing a costume shirt, like almost like it's like they're
nice.
Wearing
JR, we have people in other teams ordering jerseys from other teams just because it looks cool.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the weirdest thing in the world. Imagine being a Yankees fan. You know what? That Juan Soto guy, I really like. I'm going to wear a Juan Soto Mets jersey. You wouldn't do that in a million years.
No.
For some reason, the X-League ballers are like, dude, we have this team called the Trash Pandas. This is it's a raccoon throwing a ball out of a garbage can. We have another team called the Dabadoos. Their shirts look like Fred Flintstone and
I like those.
Bubble. And there's people ordering them just because they like them. It's the weirdest thing. And I'm like, have at it, guys, because if you like the jerseys, all it's doing is giving us marketing.
Right.
Buy as many as you want.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, that's free marketing right there.
Yeah.
Boy.
So like now we have these Tim does chamois. This is what the Dabadoos jersey looks like.
Yeah.
They come in chamois now. So now we have an accessory line. It's weird.
That's awesome.
And it's working out. I don't take any money for these chamois.
Right.
I don't take one dime because you have to keep the price down because the price of everything. Gas is $3. You know, eggs used to be expensive, but now the rent is like $3,000 a month, depending on where you live. These people don't want to pay as much money as what they're paying. We want to try to keep the price down as much as possible. And most importantly, you want to have fun at the same time. And everyone's having fun.
Make it affordable.
People show up to league 90 minutes early. It's unheard of. Oh, I want to get a sandwich. I want to get ready. And by them getting there early, they're supporting the snack shop or they're supporting the pro shop just by having fun.
Or the bar.
Yeah, or the bar.
Hey, I'll just bring it up. But
I have a question. Actually, I'm not even sure the answer to this, but it's a good answer for anyone who's listening. Can people go to Bolify and look at X League shirts? Like anyone that's on this call that's on X League, for example, could they go to Bolify and look at the X League shirts?
Yes, they can. So the best way to do that, if on the main Facebook page and our website, it's actually better if you go on the website. If you go on the website, and I'll just pull it up just so I know.
The Bolify website? Oh, you're going to show it?
No, the X League website. So if you went out myxleague.com, okay, and on the top it says order X League jerseys. I'm literally on it right now. And if I click it, it's going to a big prompt is going to come up that says order X League jerseys here. And there's a big picture of Tim Huggle who makes all the jerseys there. Once you click on the link, it sends you over to our privatized Bolify website that Steve and I helped put together. Steve's really good at Bolify, and Todd McGill does a really good job with Bolify too. And each of the divisions, it has an Alabama division, Georgia division, Illinois, New Jersey, North Carolina, New York. All these states have teams out of them, and you can just check out all the jerseys right there.
Just in case anybody wants to see my Avengers ones, I just want to throw a little promo out there.
Yeah, Monica's got a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. Right now, she doesn't have the best jerseys in the league, and she's very proud of it. You see her smiling, right? So
I always smile. I'm always smiling. Everyone knows
so
that.
she's very proud of her jerseys. But you know what the thing is, JR? Yeah. Everyone's like, Monica, I'm really proud of my jerseys. Check it out. So I'm like, make your jerseys, make an order, wear them to league, have a discussion. Next thing I know, a week later, I got a team calling in saying, hey, how do I join this league? All right, let's set you up. No problem.
They all ordered them on Sunday because they were available. So
yeah. Like she has shirts that look like Iron Man. She has shirts that look like Spider-Man. Yeah. She has shirts that look like Captain Marvel.
We have Ultron and we have
Black Panther. Black Widow. Like I ordered a Black Panther jersey only because I like Black Panther.
Right.
You know, and I'm a Marvel guy. So,
awesome.
and then there's going to be someone down the road that wants to be the Ninja Turtles, and on the back of the jersey they're going to have a shell, and on the front they're going to have the bottom of the like anything you could think of.
Right.
Ink Parlor can make, and Bolify can print. No problem.
Start a team called the Foot Clan, huh? Everybody.
You could be the Wu-Tang Clan.
Hey, we could be.
Method Man, if you wanted. You could do that. You could do whatever you want.
JR got a lot of
as long as there's no curse words in the team name, I'm good with it.
Right. Wu-Tang Clan, Lord. So many good ones. I got some comments rolling in. Thanks for everybody joining in too. So many can't decide. TH, I mean, when a new franchise who hasn't even started yet started off with 11 jerseys.
He's making fun of me because I bought 11 different jerseys. Listen, when you're the Avengers, you have to give a lot of options. I mean, it would be fun.
Hey, there you go.
I'm sure Monica has a rule that, like, if you're a girl, like, you got to be like Captain Marvel or Black Widow.
No. They first girl bought Black Panther.
If I'm a guy, I'm not buying Black Widow.
First girl.
You know what? Girls can go both ways, but I think the guys.
You're gonna look a little suspect.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird. You know what I mean?
You're not gonna buy the girl jersey.
You know what I mean? Like,
you guys killed me.
Oh man. All right, man. Well, we're coming up on an hour. Been a great show. George, I feel like we learned a lot. Hopefully the guests have too. Deborah, holla at your boy because I'm trying to join. It seems cool. I want to get my dog tags up, put them on my chain. So
join us, JR.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. Steve, any last words for George?
All I want to say, George, is you were a great guest. I think a lot of our viewers are gonna love the whole podcast. Explain what X League's about, and the options that are there that maybe haven't been there for a while, and the things that they've been missing in bowling. Like I said, bowling has to evolve to stay relevant, and I think you starting this league is good for bowling, regardless how it started. I think it's a great thing, and I'm glad that you came on the show. I'm glad to meet you. You got one of my great staffers, Monica, and you might even have JR now. He's one of my OGs.
I want to join.
Yeah. Do you have any shout outs or anything, George?
Now, here's the thing. If the X League's going to make bowling great again, we have to lift everyone up, right? And that includes shoe companies. So me and you, we're going to work together. We're going to work together to see if we can work out some kind of a deal where we have X League shoes, because you know what it is? Some bowlers like color coordinating.
Yeah.
Right? So, so if your team colors are baby blue, black, and white, they might not want to wear gold and black. They might want to wear, color coordinated shoes.
We have the sky.
We'll work together. We'll promote you as much as we can. And then, and then hopefully it's reciprocal. And then, And it's not about making money. It's about getting your brand out there to give back to the bowlers. That's really what it is.
That's what it is.
That's really what it is.
We have 9 teams in Connecticut. I see somebody asking. For some reason I can't respond in the chat, but Kookie J asked. We have 9, possibly 10, but 9 have already ordered shirts. So we have a solid 9.
What team has the most teams, or what state has the most teams right now?
Well, currently, right now, probably New Jersey because it's my home state.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people know who I am to begin with. So, I'm not going to say 100% because there's no such thing as 100%, but a lot of people trust me with, we're paying out $130,000 this year.
Whew.
So, yeah. So it's like, it's sitting on my bank account. And like, I've never had my bank account higher than like 20 or 30 grand. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting here with $130,000. I'm like,
right.
So you have to make sure you don't touch it either, So
yeah.
We always want to have people with background checks and, making sure you don't have bankruptcies because some of these people have to collect $2,000-$3,000 at a stop sometimes, and you want to make sure they don't go to the casino with it. Right. Imagine that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's never happened.
That's never happened in the world before. No, but bowling's supposed to be fun, and right now we've paid out almost $250,000. Next year, we think that our prize fund will be just under $200,000. So we're getting there. We want to be, the most prize fund in bowling, But you know what? When we start going west and we start hitting Indiana, and someone like an EJ Tackett's like, hey, you know what? I want to join one of these leagues. Imagine you being on ESPN.com or ESPN or Fox Sports or whatever it is.
Right.
And Monica needs a double against EJ Tackett for $50,000. Who's not going to want to watch that? So like, or like the Walgreens cashier that had to call out on a Saturday because she's bowling in the national championship game. Somebody that you always see on your Tuesday night league. And she needs a double in 9 for a national title. Everyone's going to watch that. The bowling on TV. Some people watch bowling on TV, but it's the same 5 or 10 people all the time.
Pretty much.
You know? And the announcers can't do anything because you got to stay quiet, so you can't make it exciting. So they're kind of painting themselves in a corner.
Some people would vote for. Some people would put their money on me. I'm good in the 10th. I am a 10th frame person. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah,
that's right.
Guys. That's what the X League's about. So Jr., get a hold of Debbie.
Yeah,
and we'll start up your franchise tonight.
I gotta find bowlers first. Maybe I need to start.
We had this guy Josh Razika out here, and he's at the Jersey Shore, and he said, "You know what? I want to start my own team, but I really don't know anybody." Right. So I said, Josh, get your jersey done. He goes, well, what's that going to do? I said, when you wear it to league or you show off your logo on social media, you're automatically going to get 10 people because it looks dope.
Right.
So, all right, I trust you. I'll try it. And he reluctantly trusted me. He calls me 48 hours later after getting his logo done. Bro, I got 18 guys on my team. And I'm like, I told you it works. You just have to. It's weird. You got to take that little leap of faith. And then from that point on, everything's good. Monica took a leap of faith with me. She had no idea who I was 4 or 5 months ago. Right. Now we're on a podcast together saying how
now we're best friends.
She hasn't thrown a ball yet. She loves it.
Awesome. Monica, any last words before we get you off?
No, I just encourage everybody. And I mean, I'm sorry that I can't respond in the chat, but hey, Janine, hey, Jessica. But, happy about Maryland. I feel like we're going to grow this very quickly. And I think as soon as people give it a chance, people will say, oh, I want to wait and see what happens. Well, if we all wait and see what happens, nothing's going to happen. So we have to just give it a shot. I mean, you're not married to anything. And if it doesn't, fit your bill, then okay. But it might be the greatest thing you ever did. And it's worth giving it a shot, I think. So I am.
Well said, Monica.
Yeah. Well said.
See, that's why she's a staffer now.
Well said. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Any closing words, George? I don't know if we got to you. Any shout outs you want to give? Gamer tags? Anybody can game with you on the
Well, you know what? I kind of left the Call of Duty for a little bit
Okay.
Because
What are
when
you
I
on?
dropped into the map, JR,
Yeah.
I dropped in and a speedboat went through the air and killed me.
Oh Lord.
And I'm like, you hacker. So now I went over to Fortnite. So if you want to play with the CEO of X League, just my gamer tag on it's X League 300. It's not very difficult.
Right.
People
Okay.
ask me,
Wow, shocker.
yeah, it's just like you want to have people memorize your gamer tag.
Yeah.
You know? But you know what? My shout out is to Chris Downs, Kat Pang, all my TSRs, Ray, Mark, Dave, Jonathan, Paul. They all do a great job. Ariana's doing good. Monica's doing fantastic. Deb's gonna do fantastic. And then we have other people like Tim Huggle helping us out with our jerseys. We're a small group of people, but we constantly contact with each other all the time, and we're all friends. So we're able to say, you know what? I have a disagreement with this. I have an agreement with that. So we're allowed to hash things out without anybody getting mad. So it's great.
That is great.
So those are my shout outs. If I forgot anyone, I apologize. We have so many people. We have bracket people. Dave Saporito does our AV. We're going to be launching something called X League Television. That's coming out soon.
Nice.
So I let that add. We're trying to finalize things on Thursday.
Okay, I got a little sneak peek.
There you
Right
go.
when he gave it to us, he's out.
In each bowling alley. So
Okay.
like they're going to be in every bowling alley, and people can hang out at the bowling alley, the bar, and watch these things.
That's awesome.
So we're going to be a competitor to Bowling Center Television because we tried advertising on Bowling Center Television. I tried reaching out to them twice, and they never reached out to me. So they said, you know what, we're going to develop our own software, and then we're going to, because they don't want our $100 a month, and we're just going to, I'll put a couple grand in there, and we're going to have TVs in all the bowling alleys.
There you go.
That's how business is done. We're going to try to get TVs up in Connecticut. We're going to have TVs down in Maryland. You can watch a Jersey Shore stop in Maryland if you wanted to. And then we'll sell advertising to all these guys. The pro shop owners, if they want to get more people to come, we can sell them a very, very, very cheap advertisement on these televisions. Boom, they get one new customer a month that they're making out. We're not even charging a lot for it. But we're going to try to wrap this up on Thursday or Friday, see how that works out. And we're going to go from there. But we're going full steam ahead. We don't care what anybody says about us, good, bad, or indifferent. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And if one of the bowlers in our organization comes up with a great idea, we're going to listen every single time. Because I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the world, but you know what? Sometimes people have better ideas than I have. I'm just open-minded to listen.
Yeah. No, definitely, man.
Make sure it's good.
Yep. And if y'all looking to join, make sure you check it out at www.myxleague.com. George, love to have you on again down the road. You're a great guy. And if any members from the X League wants to join, reach out to Behind the Lanes and we'll get you on.
Behind the Lanes would be a really nice team name, JR. We could probably even use that same logo.
I don't think it's cool enough for a name. Behind the Lanes.
You can call yourself BTL.
All right.
You know what? Thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, as always.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad y'all came on. This is probably one of the best shows we've had in a while.
Well, you know what?
Very enlightening.
Whenever you want me on the show, give me 1 day's notice. I'll pop on. I could talk for hours and hours without saying the same thing. Steve already knows that.
No, really? Really?
Yeah, really. Monica's ready to go to bed. Look at her.
No, I'm not. I don't sleep ever.
Well, it is. I have really good energy for a bigger guy. I can only imagine what I'd be like at 180 pounds. I'm 280. I can only imagine what kind of energy I'd have at 180 pounds. So that's my story right now.
And you're sticking to it.
All right.
I'm sticking to it, and that's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all hit that like, follow, share button on YouTube, and we will probably, I don't know if we got a show next week, Steve, but we'll see you. We're going to see you. Yeah. Anybody wants to join, just reach out to me, and we'll get you on the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for episode 11 Behind the Lanes, and we'll see you maybe
Bye,
next week.
guys.
See ya.
Yeah.